within a TV studio and talked about football as well, used to it. But what's it like for the players who are on the pitch? What's changed from when Rio started his career before social media was a thing, and how did it change while he was playing? So we're going to talk about that during the show. As well as that, we're going to focus on that man. Why, exactly. You see, what Rio is demonstrating there is what we're going to talk about. Have you ever had a player that you love watching, you have huge respect for them, but at the same time, you kind of dislike your team playing against them because they're so brilliant? That man will be leaving English football before too long. He's kind of universally liked for what he's done, so we're going to talk about him. And we're going to do it all in the company of Rio, alongside Owen and Robbie as well. Look, there's lots to talk about, but I want to start with the result tonight for Manchester United. And I just want to find out what memories you've got of playing in big games where you know that other teams are also having an impact on how your season might end, as Man United did tonight with Leicester having won before them.
Yeah, I mean, one of the seasons at United, we were going for the league back end of the season, and we'd play West Ham away. And in all the change rooms, as the guys will tell you, there's always TVs or someone's got a phone to look at results. And I think Everton or City or someone who was, Chelsea or City who we were fighting for the league with was playing away at somewhere like, I think it was Everton. And they, as we went out for the warm-up, they were a goal down.
Right.
So the team we're fighting for league for was losing.
You're feeling good?
And we're feeling good. We go out for the warm-up. Oh, my God, we'll get a result now today. We come in after the warm-up, and the result had spun round, and the team we were chasing the league with, they had won. And all of a sudden, it's like deflated, and it's like, wow. That emotional roller coaster can sometimes really destabilise you in the change room.
Yeah.
We went out, and we ended up dropping points. And so you have to be.
Think it was because of?
Yeah, definitely, because we were such an up and down. We went out all buzzing, came in thinking, they've lost or they've drawn. They ended up winning, and then we're like, wow, it's thrown us a bit. And you're offbeat, and you go into the game, and your mind's not as focused as it should be on what you're meant to do. And that can be very, very difficult for a team, and it's up to the staff, the big players in the change room, to try and navigate yourself through them.
What were you like, Owen, and the managers that you played under as well? Were you very much focusing on yourself and internalising it, or were you aware of what was going on?
Well, I think we're all, very conscious of. Sir Alex always spoke about concentration. We remember that in the dressing room at Old Trafford. Concentration. So if you're focused on, not warming up and not preparing for the opposition, you're focused on another game. Which Rio is right. It's human nature as a player to look at what's happening in another game. But you got to focus on your job. Anything that distracts you from going out there and doing your job is a negative. But as players, you always got a friend or somebody that texts you, or the kit man. They're the ones that are often in the know. So it's human nature, but actually the reason players are good at their job is because they concentrate on it. Fans got to worry about that stuff, staff worry about that stuff, but players got to focus on their job. So I think we tried to focus on what we could control and let everybody else tell us about the stuff that's happening around us.
Rob?
Move on, I didn't play any big games.
You can give us a bit of insight to what you think Ollie would do with these players. Would he have made sure they knew what was going on so they understand the big picture?
Yeah, of course. Most of my big games, Jake, were involved in relegation battles, and my worry would have been the people behind the scenes losing their jobs. People taking pay cuts. That was the pressure on my teams to, Owen and Rio being in dressing rooms. Some of the most important people of football clubs are behind the scenes at the training ground. Yeah. And our pressure was trying to avoid relegation and keeping these great people who love the football club, who are involved in the community, keeping their jobs. So that was pressure on my team for different reasons.
And proper pressure as well. Well, the man whose job it was tonight to keep United focused was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. We're going to hear from him now. But by the way, what a gentleman is Roy Hodgson to go through the frustration of the evening, but still a smile on his face at the end of the game for his opposition manager and also Michael Carrick as well. Let's hear from Ollie with Des. Ollie, the unbeaten run goes on, but it was a rocky road at times tonight, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a tight game. Didn't get the rhythm in our passing, but two fantastic goals, of course, won it for us.
Well, let's talk about the first one, Marcus Rashford. I mean, he's so aware, he cuts back, he takes players out of the game. It's a wonderful goal.
Yeah, the finish was great, but also the build-up with some quick interchanging passing. So we didn't do that enough, and they don't do it enough, because they are a handful to play against. I'm glad I'm not a defender to play against them, because they need to trust themselves to do that more.
Well, you say they're a handful, you wouldn't want to be a defender. There was a couple of moments, of course. There was particularly the penalty, Lindelof and Zaha coming through. Have you seen that?
I've just seen it there behind you, and it looks like Victor kicks the ball there. There you go.
Ball and man simultaneous contact. So
Ball first.
okay, well,
So it's tight positions. Probably the same with Anthony towards the other end. So I don't know. I haven't seen that one, but I don't think that's a penalty. No.
an offside, of course. That's the warning you needed at the time, because you needed that second goal.
Yeah, when we got the second goal, that's when they started strutting about and playing as well as they can. So, of course, it's tight scheduling, but we can't afford starts like this.
No, of course, and I was talking to Marcus Rashford a moment ago. We saw Anthony Martial in terms of performance tonight, and then suddenly he pops up with the killer goal.
Well, I saw Anthony. I saw what he was doing. I think
Well, he did a lot of hard work off the ball.
Yeah, he was. And, the two of them, they've found each other really well this season. And they're enjoying themselves. When they go out on the pitch, ready to do a shift, hard work for the team, but just go out with a smile. I like that. And defend each other out there as well.
But if they can smile in a nerve-wracking situation like this, because this top four is incredibly tight now.
Yeah, we need to smile. We need to go into this as in we've earned this right. No one thought this in January, that we were with a shout with the top four, and we've done fantastic since the restart. And so we've got to smile, got to enjoy these. These are the games that matter, and that's what it is at Man United. You need to step up and show your personality.
Thanks very much.
Cheers.
Rio, their goal difference is 3 worse than Leicester. You were urging them on with about 5 minutes to go to get a couple more, and I'm sure in the cold light of day, Ollie will start to think of the same thing, actually.
Yeah, I think a little bit of Ollie. When the dust settles, we'll be thinking we need to be more clinical and punish teams and really get ourselves getting the goals on the board. But at the end of the day, again, it's in their hands. Win your next 2 games, and you get in the Champions League. That's all they've got to do. So if they do that, they're fine. And if I think Owen said before the game, if they'd had that at the beginning of the season and someone said, do you fancy that? Backing yourself for the last 2 games to win them, it's in your hands. Ollie would have took that.
As would Leicester, because of course if they win their last 2 games, it's Leicester who finish in the top 4, and Robbie, Owen and Rio are going to talk to us in just a couple of minutes' time about how they see the battle for the top 4 shaping up. See you in a second. We'll talk the race for the Champions League. It's 11:30 this evening with Rio and Owen. You're watching Premier League tonight, and we were talking this evening with you about which player do you love to watch but also hate playing against because they're so brilliant. There's some great stuff coming in. Jamie says, without a doubt, 2 players above everyone else, David Silva, and the other is Didier Drogba. I hated seeing them against my teams, but I loved watching them play. Dazda said it's got to be Thierry Henry against Spurs. Completely unplayable. He used to stroll through our defence and score in every fixture. And Frankie said Cantona, amazing to watch, but always delivered against my team, Newcastle. His goal against us in the 95-96 season was a sickener. Well, there's going to be a sickener for one of the teams who's fighting for the top 4 because it's simply not going to be there for. We know that Liverpool are there. We know that City are there. It's now 3 into 2, and 3 into 2 just doesn't go. So these are the remaining fixtures. There are the points on the board, and there's the goal difference. Right, Robbie, you first of all. Who makes it and who doesn't?
Well, this is a scenario, Jay. If Leicester beat Spurs and United beat West Ham, a draw on the last day will be enough for both if Chelsea lose at Anfield next Wednesday. That is a possibility as well. So, Manchester United need a draw on the last day because of the goal difference. Chelsea's goal is not great. But I'm going to say, I think United and...
you want to say Chelsea, but you can't.
Chelsea.
Yeah. See Leicester miss out. Why?
I think United and Chelsea. I think United, the run of form they're on, Jay, will go there and win. I think Chelsea win their last game of the season, and I think United will beat West Ham. So I think Leicester will lose one of those 2 games.
Yeah, I agree. I looked at it first and thought Liverpool and Wolves, Chelsea's games, they're going to struggle. I think Chelsea will beat Wolves last day of the season, something to play for. And I think that West Ham will do Man United a favour I think Man United's run, the way they've been playing, they're scintillating at the moment, and I just think they win both their last two games and they definitely qualify.
Owen, what are you saying?
Yeah, I think I'm with the boys. I think United they'll beat West Ham, and I think they'll finish the job against Leicester. But I think obviously with Chelsea, they got such tough fixtures. But I think with United and Leicester playing on the last day, I think Chelsea, they're going to get in. Robbie's right with that scenario there. If United and Leicester win the next two games and then draw the last one, that's entirely possible. But Chelsea got to go to Liverpool. I know they're not playing as well as they are, but that's going to be tough. But I think Chelsea and United just get over the line.
How difficult is it with this running? I mean, all of you played, but none of you played in a run into the end of the season like this. And if you're a middle of the road side, like we've seen, haven't we, really with Crystal Palace, you've all made the comment that the players look like they're already on the beach to a certain degree. That option is not there for United and Chelsea and the sides who are fighting against relegation as well. And the games, like even we're getting surprised by how many games are coming up.
No, I mean, I played in the final game of the season when City pipped us to win the league. So every game towards the end meant something. And around that time, you look for teams to play against that have got nothing to play for, not fighting relegation, and are not looking to get into the Champions League or European spots. And they're the teams that you feel in psychologically are already booking their holidays, already on the beach, seeing themselves, enjoying themselves a pina colada, just chilling out. So you want them teams, and maybe Wolves will be that team on the last day of the season for Chelsea. West Ham obviously aren't that for Manchester United, but I just think that situation, you want teams that are playing for zero, so you feel that they're an easy touch, definitely an easier touch than teams fighting for relegation, etc.
Considering that we've been denied a really great title race, this battle for the top four is brilliant, Owen, isn't it? I mean, it is proper blood and thunder.
Well, you're right. You would think teams competing for the Champions League places and teams in the relegation, but they're the ones you wouldn't want to play. But you look at what Southampton did. Their performance. They're right in the middle of things. I mean, Palace. That was one of their best performances in ages. They could have easily got something from the game. So it just shows you if you're not at your best, you can get punished. And I think there's an opportunity for everyone down there. And the point is, if you're going to go down or there's an opportunity, it's still a platform, the Premier League. And I think as a player, you want to play in these games because everybody's watching, and who knows, where it could lead to. So I think players, we saw with Southampton, we saw with Palace today, you just want to be at your best, and it's an opportunity every time you step on the pitch.
And even if, as you suggest, they might, Leicester miss out, Robbie, it's still been a brilliant season. You'd be mad to suggest they need a rebuild or anything. It's still been amazing.
Yeah, you've changed your tune.
You've changed your tune. I just set that one up for you.
Jakey.
Right, we're going to take a quick break.
Listen, be a wonderful season.
Yeah, he's still talking. When we come back, we're going to be discussing social media, what it's like for the current players, what it was like for these guys when social media finally came in. Rio obviously looks after lots of young players. Robbie's boy plays for Manchester United. I'm not sure Owen even knows what social media is. So we're going to talk about it straight after the break. Stay where you are. It's really nice to have your company this evening. Right, we're talking about social media abuse. We've seen it, particularly with Wilfried Zaha, a very high-profile case in just the last few days, and it's been spoken about, guys, so much from the perspective of the player and what needs to be done to stop it, and whether it's a case of education, which it obviously is. But I want to kind of get an understanding of what it's like from the perspective of all of you, because I guess all of you were playing football. I'll come to you first, Rob. You were playing football, I guess, before the advent of social media. How much of a change did you see, or have you seen since you've been doing this job as well, and the sort of constant rise of it?
Yeah, it's there for there are good people on it. There are lots of idiots on it. Let's make no mistake about that. People are entitled to opinion, but I've seen it, Jake, and it now becomes the abuse I receive. If I do a commentary, it's my opinion. It's horrible. It's vile, and when it crosses the line to your family members, my son now, as you said, Jake, is a young player at Manchester United, and I've advised him in no uncertain terms that why would he go on social media, because if he ever makes it, and listen, hopefully he will, if he tweets something now that's wrong, it will come back and they will pull it out in years to come. Why would you want to be on social media now as a young player when everybody's looking at you to make mistakes, to do stuff? So I would advise him not to go on it. I don't know, I know Rio's got his agency, and I don't know what he advises the young players. But for my son, I would say stay away with it. For me, it's important in my job, to tweet about successful podcasts I've done, award-winning ones, newspaper columns.
Robbie, just touching on something that you mentioned there, Robbie, is when you tell your kids not to go on social media, etc., but then they become the minority. They become the kids that are left out because all the other kids are doing it. They're all on it. It's like a news feed now. It's where all of the stuff goes down. And if they're not up to speed with that, what conversations are they part of? Because a lot of it revolves around or stems from the social media. It's just about being responsible. And Robbie said, I'm involved in an agency with a management company of young players and experienced players. And it's about educating them in the pitfalls, in that what you do at 14, 15, 16, 17 years old can come back to bite you later on in your career. When you become a star or in the public eye, there will be people rummaging through what you've done previously. And that's a worry and that's a concern. But again, you have to be thick-skinned. If you're going to go on social media, be very aware that you're going to get criticised. There's going to be people that are very vindictive, sometimes borderline evil on there, and you've got to have thick skin to be able to deal with that. And that's a problem. It's a big concern. But you would like to think that the powers that be, the people that run these social media platforms, do actually put some guidelines down and put things in place to protect a lot of the players that come on there.
Robbie, I know you want to dive in. I mean, we've all been there.
But it can also, but it can also be a great tool as well. Like, for the grassroots, to bring back grassroots. I'm constantly onto the FA, the government asking when can grassroots return, and I'm getting real positive feedback. But once again, I'm having people, idiots, saying you're doing it for self-worth. You want to be the main man that brings grassroots back. And I tell you what, Jay, I do, because I want to give those youngsters all around the country that, to help them mentally and their physical well-being of coming back to play grassroots when it's safe to do so. We're waiting for the guidance, I know that, but it can also have its positive aspects, like Marcus Rashford has tweeted about the schools campaign, so it can be positive. But
you simply
me,
won't
it's a
go
work,
through it,
it's
Robbie.
a work tool.
It is, without negativity. I mean, I want to come to you because one of the big issues is that criticism gets rid of your creativity. And it's never been harder to be ourselves because it's never been easier for people to pass judgment on us by using social media. All of us sitting here know what it feels like. Probably, Owen, apart from you. I mean, we were trying to have a conversation on WhatsApp about the game tonight. You're not even on WhatsApp. So is this a conscious decision from you that you don't want to put yourself out there? You don't want to see what's being said? Why? Because it's rare to meet someone with no social media presence at all.
Well, the one reason I initially did it was because, first of all, I hated everybody staying at the phone all the time. I made a rule in my house when we had dinner that when you sat down to the dinner table, your phone couldn't be there. Because if you're going to sit down for dinner with somebody, you got to interact with that person. You can walk down the street now and somebody not stare at their phone and you're bumping into each other. So I find that a little bit disconnected. I would rather have a conversation with somebody face to face. I understand that social media has a big impact, especially on young kids. If you think it improves your life, go for it. I've seen a lot of people that I work with that I know, I've seen it affect them negatively, So in that sense, when I pick up my phone, do I want to see somebody abusing me? No. I want to see my family send me a message saying, I miss you, I love you. I want to see my friends get in touch. I don't want to see somebody I don't know hiding behind a screen that wouldn't have the courage to come up to me face to face and say that. And I think social media companies need to do a better job of filtering out all the rubbish that's affecting people. I think we're enabling a young generation to say whatever they feel like. You would never say that on the street. So it's a conscious choice for me, the fact that I remember when I was in the World Cup in 2006, I got booed for even being in the squad after just coming off winning the double and getting man of the match in the cup final. And if I would have listened to all the noise, I wouldn't have been able to play properly. I didn't switch on the telly in Germany once for 4 weeks. And that allowed me to focus on my craft, and I got voted England's best player. If I would have listened to all that rubbish, I wouldn't have been able to play. So I just made a conscious choice to focus on what I control and let everybody else talk about what they want to talk about.
Yeah. It's kind of a brave decision. I think people say it's brave to be on social media, but it sort of almost feels braver to not do it. I think respect to you, Owen, for wanting to make a decision that makes you happy and is good for you and good for your family. So well played to you. I think we all wish we could kind of make that decision, but for some reason we don't. Right, we're going to take another quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about David Silva, a player that if you support Manchester City, you love. If you don't support Manchester City, you love. He's been amazing. He's off very soon. We'll discuss him straight after the break. It's the final part of this evening's Premier League tonight. Thanks for sticking with us. Loads of people getting in touch this evening talking about, we're talking about David Silva. Those players you kind of love but also hate watching play against your team at the same time because they're so good. Lots of people still getting in touch and saying Kevin De Bruyne, Owen Slater said that as well. Some of his performances have been the best I've ever seen, which is good until they come against your team. Kieran says Scholes always ran Villa ragged in the 2000s, and Craig says Drogba, as a Liverpool fan, he actually began harassing us even before he joined Chelsea at Marseille when he single-handedly destroyed us in the UEFA Cup. And the reason why we're talking about this is because there was a lovely tweet yesterday from James Maddison, who's actually been busy on social media as well this evening. And it's great. He says, look, sorry, David Silva is a true Premier League great. So much respect for him. I admire his character and his ability. He's a genius at work, and we will miss watching him. However, I won't miss playing against him. He really has been just, in so many ways, a breath of fresh air in the Premier League, and we're going to miss him. I saw an interesting article the other day, Owen, from Pep Guardiola, basically saying, I'd love to keep him, but I simply can't. He won't stay. We're going to miss him badly when he's gone, I think.
Yeah, I think he's one of those players that when you watch him, you know, all the fans love him, even the opposition fans. But when you train with him day in and day out, you realise actually how genius he is. It's like Scholes, you know, he has a feel for space and to be between the lines that is just uncanny. And so I don't think you can teach it. I think Phil Foden has something similar, and he was so loved by all his teammates. He always had a smile on his face. He was so humble, and he's just one of those guys. Every time he touched the football, you could tell he was in love with caressing the football, and one of those players that just you pay to watch, and wicked team, great football player, and probably one of the most humble guys you'll ever see on a football pitch.
I think I heard Pep speak about him, and Pep said that he's never worked with a player who finds space and can manoeuvre out of tight situations quite like him. And if you look at the players that Pep's managed over the years, the Iniestas, the Xavis, the Messis, etc., you realise actually what level this guy's operating at, and like he does stuff that other players will celebrate mid-game about, and he just carries on trotting along like it's normal procedure.
And look, people have dreams and ambitions and things they want to achieve in their life, but you do wonder why he really wants to leave the Premier League. He's still so good, Robbie. You'd imagine he could play on in this league for another 2 or 3 seasons.
Yeah, the way he plays and the way Pep rotates his squad as well. And, you know, it's nice, you know, I didn't play against David Silva. I've watched him on the TV and know how good he is, but it's nice to hear from Owen that he's such a humble guy, because that makes you even more special, that all the skill and all the talent and all the hard work he's put in. But for him to be, as Owen said, is great for somebody like me to know, you know, who's only seen him on the TV.
Yeah, well, actually, we can hear from a Manchester City fan about why he thinks David Silva's so special. Have a listen to this.
So, what can I say about David Silva or Malen as City fans like to go on? If it was based just on what he's won, he's quite clearly lost his games. If it's based on pure football and ability, he's in the top 2 along with a certain Colin Bell. Both on and off the pitch, he's been a role model, whether it be that screamer against Hull when we had 10 men, the wonder goal versus Blackpool, or that volley pass against a certain team from Salford to make it 6-1.
Love that. Listen, before we get off, and we've only got a few minutes before we're off air, which is the player from your time as players did you love watching but hate playing against? Robbie looks deep in thought. I'll come to you first, Ree.
I could say Messi would be a stand-up one, but one maybe some people wouldn't expect really. Probably Yaya Toure. Formidable player. Beautiful feet, soft feet, could run with the best of them, powerhouse, and just saw the game beautifully. Like he had a sat nav, he could see people around him. His spatial awareness was perfect. He was a fantastic player in full flight, one of the best midfielders to grace the stage in the Premier League, 100%.
Love it. Go on, Owen.
I remember we just came up winning the Champions League. You know, you're full of confidence as a young player, and I remember I played against Rui Costa and Seedorf, and the way they humbled me. By the end of the game, I honestly went over and just shook their hand and said thank you very much, because as a young man, you got a lot of confidence, but they just blew me away with their experience, being 10 years older, and I love that. You know, they taught me such a lesson, and I was glad they were getting on, and I got to see the back of them.
Great story. Rob, who would you go for?
I'd go for a guy I actually played with. In the end, it would be two guy at Blackburn. When I played against him, you know, Rio, you know, what a player two guy was. You know, he couldn't get around the park that much, but the way he could get out of spaces, and yeah, the way, you know, when I played with him, just give him the ball in any area. If I could find him, usually didn't. He was just sensational two guy. He could have played for Manchester United or Liverpool, a top team. He was magnificent.
Just quickly, Rob, you know when people say that he could have played for a top team, what was the reason he didn't?
No, he 100 caps for Turkey. You know, played for Galatasaray, played for Glasgow Rangers, didn't he? And I had no idea, Rio, because you've played against him. Yeah. He was. Listen, Paul Scholes was a better player, but the technique, you know, Scholes, he wasn't blessed with great pace, but he look over his shoulder or half turn, could pass the ball. His skill levels were incredible. I don't know, Rio. I really don't know why he didn't play in the top part of the Premier League, going for trophies every season, because he was that good.
Listen, gents, it's been lovely to sit and chat to you all this evening. Thank you all very much for staying up late with us tonight, and thank you as well for hanging out with us this evening. Just to remind you of all the bits and pieces coming your way on BT Sports. There's plenty actually over the next few days. We've got the action from the Vanarama. We're up to the semi-finals in the playoffs. You can see Boreham Wood against Halifax Town tomorrow from 6:45. Then Yeovil against Barnet Saturday from 2:30. Then we bring you the Emirates FA Cup. Our semi-final is Arsenal against Manchester City. That's Saturday from 7 o'clock. And then we've got more Premier League for you. Bournemouth against Southampton Sunday at 1:30. And then we'll carry on with Wolves against Crystal Palace Monday 7:45. I mean, it's looking like, well, if David Silva wins some silverware in his final season at Manchester City, it will be live on BT Sport, either the FA Cup final or the Champions League final.
It will, but let's hope not.
Farewell, don't leave with a trophy.
If you're a Manchester United fan, I'm saying that. Sorry, David.
Listen, Robbie, thank you very much for this evening. Really appreciate it. Well done getting the podcast advert onto the television as well. Owen, as always, a pleasure to share the evening with you, Rio. Thank you very much for all your hard work. I'll see you in a couple of days, absolutely. And don't forget, this weekend,